We desperately
Good to
need
see you,
infrastructure.
Stephanie.
That isn't political. Trump believed it. Biden believed it. America knows it. We're talking hard infrastructure, roads and bridges. So if in the end politics keeps this bill from passing, should the American people give up on the idea of government working for the American people?
So I don't think, Stephanie, it's good to see you. Thanks for having me on the show again. I don't think politics is going to stop this bill. I think this bill could stop this bill. Obviously, we're all, look, bipartisan infrastructure is something we all are working forward to get. We don't know what's in the Senate bill, either on how it's paid for or what the real provisions are, and they're not done yet. So very hard to predict what happens when it comes to the House. There is, as you noted, some real problems with how Democrats see this bill. And for Republicans, I think on a standalone infrastructure bill that's fully paid for in a real way, I think it would gain bipartisan support. But in the House, without question, it is being linked to this multi-trillion-dollar expansion of the welfare state with massive tax increases that, by the way, wipe out the economic growth from infrastructure. And so if it is linked in any way, I think it's going to have some challenges in the House.
Well, then let's just talk about the standalone bill because that's what we're focused on now. Republicans have been circulating details of how we think it's going to get paid for. We're talking about unspent COVID money, money left over from jobless benefits, and things like fees and taxes on cryptocurrency. Is that good enough for you?
You know, right now, it doesn't appear so. So we are still asking the Senate for details on how it's paid for. It's very general at this point. It looks about half of the provisions are budget gimmicks. I think that's going to cause some real problems. The good news is it doesn't increase or doesn't include many of the crippling tax increases that the Biden administration is pushing for right now. But I think everyone Stephanie, is in assessment mode, trying to figure out exactly how this bill works. And they're not done yet. And so out of fairness, you got to give the Senate a chance to work.
Moments ago, former President Trump put out another statement pushing against this bipartisan hard infrastructure bill. Do you think he has influence over fellow members of Congress?
You know, there's no question. There are strong supporters of the president in the House and the Senate. The good news here, I think, President Trump has always been, very strong in support of infrastructure. I think he's pushing the Senate to improve that bill, in my view. And he is worried, like as I am, that this will be just the pilot chute that deploys that massive tax and spend bill. That is a major concern, and it's valid.
You've been big on going after people that you say cheated the system by claiming enhanced unemployment benefits they didn't deserve. But at the same time, you don't want to give any more money to the IRS to track down tax cheats. Why one and not the other? I would think they would go hand in hand.
Oh, no, I support going after those who don't pay their taxes. There's no question about it. But right now, the tax gap,
then why not give more money to the IRS?
Yeah, because it doesn't close the tax gap. One, the tax gap itself is a bit is more than unfounded. We don't know what it really is or where it's coming from. That's why Republicans have called for an independent, accurate analysis so that we can work together on closing this tax gap. The other issue here, the IRS has always, in hearings with Ways and Means in private, admitted that you can't audit your way through that tax gap. You need a far more serious approach to do that. So, yeah, this is an issue: is will that produce money or not? And even the Congressional Budget Office has admitted it doesn't produce a whole lot right now. I think a simpler tax code.
But, sir,
I think smarter auditors really work, and then some common sense reporting. I think could make a big difference.
You know how you get smarter auditors? You pay people. If you don't give the IRS more money, more resources, how do they improve tax collection?
Well, in truth, they've admitted as well that they don't audit as smartly as they should. And I think Republicans are willing to take steps to close that tax gap if it's part of a strategy to actually do that. But look, I've been here. This is my 25th year. We've heard for all that time two things. from the IRS. Please give us tens of thousands of more IRS agents. And secondly, even that is not going to substantially close the tax gap. So we need a smarter approach on this, and we're willing to do it. I think our biggest concern as Republicans is what we saw yesterday. Second straight quarter, GDP numbers fell below expectations. Job growth is slowing. Economic growth is downhill from here. Wages are up. And so I think our big worry going forward is 2021, under President Biden, the economy, frankly, he's off track on his policies, and a lot of working families are being hurt by it.